What's up, fam? It's Calla from Recalibrate here with a special edition of the Lightin Up Podcast. On today's episode, we're doing things a little bit differently. I just recorded this episode yesterday with my friend Abby, who lives in New York City, and I'm releasing this podcast on a Tuesday because this is really important information and we need to talk about what's going on in America. We are one of the last, if not the last, free, quote unquote, free countries in the world, and we are quickly falling into dictatorship and tyranny and medical tyranny. So it's starting in places in New York and LA, and I just wanted to talk to my friend Abby and get her take on what's going on. She is a healthcare worker in New York. She's about to lose her job if she doesn't comply with these mandates. As some of you probably know, in New York, you can't go to restaurants or bars or do all of these things unless you have been So this is just a special edition coming to you live, a little bit more raw and unfiltered. So I didn't even take a breath or light a candle with my friend Abby. So I'm going to just take a second to do that with all of you now. Just very briefly, just center into this moment. I know that this is going to be a heavy, intense topic, but I hope that it is also inspiring as we all listen. I hope that we can get something out of this and feel motivated and inspired to take action in our own lives. I hope that we can all remember that this is not a dress rehearsal. This is real life, and our liberties are being stripped right in front of our eyes. I pray for the understanding of the people who listen. I pray for the understanding of the people who listen. I pray for all of the beings on this planet, that they may find love and truth and freedom. And with all of that, I light this candle with this lighter that hopefully works. Yes, it does. It wasn't working yesterday. And I invite you all to listen to this podcast. So before we get into it, I just want to take a couple breaths together and just center into this moment and prepare ourselves for the emotional responses that may come up as we listen to this information. And I just invite you to sit with it, let them flow through you, and always use your breath as an anchor to get back to your body and back to the truth that we are all love and light, regardless of the darkness that is going on around us. So with that being said, let's breathe in together. Breathe in through your nose, perhaps, and let it out. Again, in through your nose. Last one, deepest breath you've had all day. Thank you so much for being here for this special edition of the Lightin Up Podcast. I hope that you get something out of it, and I love all of you dearly. Mwah. Oh, what's up, fam? It's Calla from Recalibrate with my friend Abby, who lives in New York. And we're basically just going to have a conversation about all the craziness that's going on in New York. So thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
So can you just give us the rundown. What's it like over there?
Well, right now it's very interesting. We're living in an interesting time. So right now in the state of New York, if you work healthcare or for our Department of Education over here, they're mandating the juice, right? So a lot of
That's
people
statewide? That's statewide.
This is a state thing. This was done per our old governor's last days in office. Like, he was just like, screw you, I'm out in a couple of days, so here you go. And so now statewide has been mandated. Our new lieutenant governor, however, she, from what I understand, is telling the Department of Education that they have an option whether they want their nose violated or jabs, right? So, but the city, I live in New York City. So our mayor for the city of New York, which is, 5 boroughs, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, all that. He's like, yeah, I don't care what she says. You still got to get it if you're in the city, right? And if you live in New York City.
Just if you live there.
Huh?
Just if you live there.
Just if you live in the city, that's what it is. You have to get it if you work for the Department of Education and if you're a healthcare worker.
Or if you want to go into restaurants, bars, gyms.
If you want to also enjoy the things that should be free in life, you have to have a card that tells you that you could do so starting November. And not November, you hear me? September 13th. And I remember because it's the day before my son's birthday.
September 13th. And so, but that's for like every, like pretty much every public, like what about parks?
No, I don't. It's not outdoor venues. It's more or less indoor venues.
Okay.
Like restaurants. Like I can't even take my kids to Dave and Buster if I wanted to.
Do they take out for people without the V?
They're gonna do takeout. But for me personally, I don't want to support any business. You know what I mean? That's like, you could do takeout though. Like, no, for that, I don't even want to eat here.
Yeah. But you can still go to the grocery store theoretically. Or
as of right now.
As of right now. But they could decide, tomorrow they're like, fuck this shit. Like a certain grocery store could decide that themselves.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like, there's timelines to everything though. Like I'm technically not going to lose my job till like September 13th, maybe September 27th. They gave everybody a deadline. You have till this date to get it or you're terminated. And yeah, I'm trying to figure out how that's even legal, but hey.
Dude, I have goosebumps. You're going to we have no choice though. Like you have no choice.
No, it's crazy. And, I work for a facility that, I'm in a union, right? So, they basically told us like our union basically was like their hands are tied, right? They can't even fight for us. And then we're told by attorneys that there's not much they can do because we're part of a union. So, yeah, there's only like so much they could defend us. But because we're part of a union, it basically they're our representation.
Right.
And the union's basically crying, we don't know what to do with this state mandate. And I'm like, but mandate's not law. But
yeah, what are the attorneys saying? Like, are the attorneys saying if you weren't a part of a union, they might be able to have an argument?
It would take a while, only because this is bigger than just New York City, New York State. Shit has to actually head over to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and that's
gonna take.
Well, they could probably file like preliminary injunctions and shit, but like, still, dude, it's like a long process. And the fact of the matter is, like, you're about to be out of a job in less than a month.
Yep.
And what are you gonna do?
Be a mom until I could figure out what to do. Like, I sell jewelry on the side, y'all. I mean, I just, I'm still trying to figure it out. Thankfully, so I have a partner, my life partner. He's upstairs somewhere, but his union basically was like, we're not forcing anybody to get anything. However, whatever job sites we would have to send you to, if they require it or if they want a negative test, like, we wouldn't be able to send you to these jobs.
Yeah.
So it's your overtime money, basically. So it's your money at your own risk.
Yeah.
But they're not, thankfully, not going to force anything. But it also trickles down to like, this is a state mandate, right? So all these, like, maybe federal and city jobs, they have to kind of, whatever, it's a state thing. But these private companies, they don't have to. They could literally, rightfully so, be like, this ain't law, this is a mandate, I don't want to comply, right? But they don't want to face the fines that are coming their way.
Right.
So it's like, for every person, like when they do because starting, they implemented the IDs but they're not forcing it till September 13th, right? So that's when they're going to send people to do inspections and check on these places to make sure that they're carding people or whatever the case is. And if you don't, you're getting like I think it starts off with like $1,000 and then it goes anywhere between 1,000 to 7,000. And it's like, you're just going to cripple these businesses because people aren't going to come, because even the people who did decide to do that for their life choice, they don't feel like telling people that. They don't feel like it's anybody's business to know that.
Yeah.
So, which is their right. It's none of their business to know what your medical choice in life is. So
That was always how I was raised, but
exactly,
it's different apparently.
But yeah, I mean, I'm going to start going out and asking people, do you have hepatitis? Like, can I see your immunization record? I want to know.
I know. I have a hard time with that argument because in reality, I don't want any of that shit, but it just shows the like logic of it. It's like there's so many fucking things we could like, we're all gonna die. It's gonna happen. Like, I don't know what to, but it's crazy, like watching it happen.
Yeah, it's really happening. I mean, for me, I find comfort in going to protests and rallies and meeting people that are like screw this, enough is enough, you know? And I also find comfort in people that, have a brain. Like, I work with healthcare professionals that did do it and didn't do it. And, ultimately it's like, dude, we worked together throughout this entire thing and we were already short. So if y'all walk out, we're walking out because we ain't gonna take double the load.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, so do you work in healthcare? What do? You work in healthcare?
Yeah, I'm a nursing assistant. So I worked the entire 2020 in a nursing home through the whole Cuomo nursing home debacle. And then I waited 3 years to get it. I've been in this field for 10 years. I've been trying to get in the hospital for like that whole time. And I waited 3 years of actually really trying to get in. I finally get in and like I started my job doing the line of work that I do in an actual hospital in May. And I'm about to lose it in September. So after
what you worked your whole career for.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been doing this line of work for over 10 years, 10, 11 years. Yeah.
Goosebumps, dude. I'm so like moved by you. Like that takes real strength, especially as a mom, like worrying about your kids. And
it was hard. I mean, I don't know. People wake up at different times. For me, working at the nursing home is when I woke up to the crap, because I'm like, dude, like I don't even want to work in the healthcare industry anymore. Like I used to love helping people, and now I'm just like, now I'm just like, what are we doing? This is not it.
I know. You're definitely being redirected, and like I believe you're gonna be rewarded for your like strength and your sacrifice, and like this is ultimately what we came for. Mm-hmm. Like it's fucking hard, but
yeah. No, yeah. And it, I try to deal with the ignorance, trying to deal with people that I want to say that aren't awake yet. Mm-hmm. That's how I want to put it. Because I work in an industry where it's very divided, and it's so sad to see, because it's like you have people that think like me that, whoa, we're working way too much, way too hard, and something's up, right? And then you have the people that are like, they were scared of everything that they saw, because it was traumatizing. I won't lie to you. It's very real. I won't sit here and pretend like it's not real, because it's real. But
Coco, you're talking about, is real.
Yeah. I just didn't want to say it, but
I don't think they've picked up on Coco yet.
Oh yeah, I don't think they picked up. Well, we said job, so I'm pretty sure you guys understand where we're going with that.
Yeah. So, but it was real, and you did see
it was very real. It was very real, but it was very real for some of the things that I was, they like to fabricate or talk about science, right? And I feel like science is very important, but so is history. Mm-hmm. And I feel like some of the science to this is true, but not everything. And I think a lot is over embellished and fabricated. But the part of the science where it said, you know, the population that was affected mostly if you have underlining or if you're old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did see a lot of what it did to everybody's grandmas and grandpas, and that hurt. Like it was a lot. And for me, what bothered me more is that if I was a person that was sick, I'm spending my last moment with whoever I want to spend my last moment with. I'm not going to have the government tell me that I can't have my kid with me and I have to have this person just hold my hand, when that was more heartbreaking to me than the actual situation, that I'm the one that had to hold her hand when she just wants her kid. Like,
Oh,
and it should be it ultimately should be that person's, you know, listen, enter at your own risk. They're sick.
yeah.
It should be my choice, though. It should be my risk to make.
I
Like,
cannot imagine, like, if my mom was dying from COVID or fuck, damn it. Hopefully they don't pick up on that one. But if my mom
right.
was dying from that, like, I would break into the hospital, like, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
My mom worked in the cemetery here in Phoenix, and like, you know, she said there were more deaths, but like it's aligned with the baby boomers dying. Like she was like, they've been telling us for 10 years that around this time there was going to be an increase in deaths. Like, but the most fucked up part for her too was the same thing. Like these people lost their family members and they couldn't go to the funeral, or they couldn't have a funeral. And like, so, you know, not only can you not be with your person when they're passing, which is completely like fucked
Ridiculous.
up.
But now
like,
you can't even celebrate their life.
but then you can't even have a funeral. Like what sort
Yeah.
of fucking shit is that?
It's wild. It's sad and it's wild.
It's a weapon. Like they're purposely traumatizing people and like hurting them in every, you know, they get us from every angle that they can.
Yeah, financially, emotionally, physically. People are literally, and it's crazy. I tell people, I was like, think about it. They mess you up mentally, which then in turn affects you physically. And if you're physically messed up, your immune system is shot, you're more likely to get sick. Think about it. Like, it's more than just me getting something and me not getting something. It's the power of manipulation and division and coercion and just sadness, straight up sadness.
And the crazy thing is like, I know it was real, but like, I just also know that like when my grandparents were alive, like the flu would go around and they would lock down the whole nursing home. And like, you know, people died of the flu every year. And I'm not saying it wasn't like a real thing, but like this has been a part of reality. And we've been dealing with it in a compassionate way for up until this point, like, and allowing people to make their own decisions. And like the hysteria around what is going on and the force is not supported by the numbers. And so it's just like, what, like, we have to reflect on like, why is this happening? Like, why are we forcing everyone in New York to either get it or not go to do anything?
Or not to live. My sister called the bowling alley not like the other day, and she's like, are you guys gonna, they were like, we don't even know what we're doing yet. And it's just like, this answer should be simple. I'm not forcing anything. But, you know, just to think that other, you know, people don't want to lose their money again. They don't want to have to, they just reopened up and now we're just reclosing everything back up and even harsher. And it's like, it doesn't match last year. Like what happened last year doesn't match this year. And I'm working in the hospital this time. You know, I'm working in a place where it's supposed to be flooded and people are just dying. And it's just like I'm baffled. Like I'm just like, that's not what I see. And I feel like those who are scared, if you're scared and you work in this industry, you should not work in this industry. And that's how I feel. Like you have to be ready for whatever. You're going to face death, whether it's heart disease or just old age or anything else. Like you could be young and have a freaking brain aneurysm, freak accident, and you're gone. Like when you're going to go, you're going to go. You know, when God says, let's go, I'm taking you home, it's just, it doesn't like, so to sit here and like, you know, old people, right? They watch CNN all day, right? They watch all these news channels all day. Mm-hmm. So I'm listening to all the fakeness going on. I hate watching TV because it's all lies that come through the TV when you hear the news.
Television.
Yeah, definitely tells a lot of visions. I was listening to our old governor say things like, we have 750 hospital beds across the entire state. 350 are full and only 3,000 are COVID. What? We're shutting the state down for 3,000 cases out of 750 hospitals. And because he said it in such a panicky way and he sounded good saying it, everyone was like, oh my God, we're going to die. Oh my God. And it was like, no, you're not going to die. Don't listen to this man. He's lying to you.
I
Turn the
know.
TV off.
I know. It's like
And
yeah, go on.
it was terrible. It was horrible. It's the worst experience ever.
And now it's just getting
And now it's getting worse and worse, honey. It's just getting worse and worse. I was telling people that this was going to happen, that they're going to ask you for a card. Last year, I was telling people, I said, watch. Watch what's going to happen. They're going to come out with this stuff and watch.
We all said this. Like we've all known, if you've paid attention to anything ever, like this is the plan that they've had all along, and it's going quite swimmingly. Like
Yeah.
people are just like, oh, well, I want things to go back to normal. I'm like, things will never be normal. Like there is no normal.
What scares me the most is that they have people genuinely convinced that taking someone's civil liberties away for the name of freedom is okay. That scares me, because it's like, now this is, I know nobody wants to get political, but let's look at our history, right? Now this is what we got to take it, and we have to actually not let history repeat itself, because every time someone has tried to mandate or force something in the name of healthcare, when has it ever been good? Never. Hitler came up with the whole Holocaust on the basis of Jewish people were sick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I know. And people will they get so triggered. Like that's probably my most triggering post besides burning my ballot. I don't know. It's a tie. But the one where I compare this to the Holocaust, I'm like, dudes, are you not paying attention? Like, and it's not even like it's for this illusion of safety. Like you're never going to be safe. You're gonna have to die. Like you have to die at some point. So and no amount of inoculations that they give you is going to make you not die. Or everyone you love die.
yeah, no, wholeheartedly, 100%. I mean, and again, if it really were for health and safety, what about all these things that aren't good for you or aren't safe for you, that everybody just roams freely? Like, you could drink and smoke, right? I mean, heart disease is the #1 killer right now still in this country, yet I can walk up and down the block and have 100 McDonald's.
Yeah, and you can go to McDonald's for every fucking meal. There's not a limit at McDonald's where they're like, sorry, ma'am, you've had your 8 cheeseburgers today. We can't give you more than 8 cheeseburgers. Like, if they really gave a fuck, that's what they would do.
100%, 100%. I mean, the funny ones are those who like to say that it was done for the sake of their family. Like, I got it for my family. But my thing is, if it's not going, if you can still contract and give, how is that safe for anyone? For me, I didn't let it. I'm not gonna lie to you. The beginning of this thing, I was one of them. I was, oh my God, I gotta wear a mask. Everybody wear your mask. Oh my God, like we're gonna die. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was in the beginning because, like I said, I worked in healthcare, but then things weren't adding up for me. Working every day, working 16-hour days, tired, and I'm just like, nah, something's gotta give. And then I saw, our former president and New York's former governor play Whose Balls Were Bigger on television. And it was like, dude, no one even cares. Everybody just cares about who's like, what? Dude, what? Did you know New York saved $1 billion on their nursing home debacle? They saved the entire state saved $1 billion on cocoa deaths in the nursing homes.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, because all those people died.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
they
so
didn't
no
like
more state funding
knowingly.
for Medicare and Medicaid. They didn't need to. So they were able to save 5 billion and then cried broke afterwards and had the nerve to tell us we needed to take some jabs so we can go back to normal.
Dude, that's
Yeah.
they
Yeah, it's bad.
so between Medicare, Medicaid, and all those beds and stuff, they saved that much money.
Yep, 5
Because the
billion.
nursing home debacle, so that was didn't like all these people die because he like transferred them knowing that they
Yeah. So what happened was, I guess our former president had given him our Javits Center, which is where we like hold car shows, like this big convenience center, right? And also an army base ship to aid the hospital overflow. Now, at this time, we also closed down schools. So universities were supposed to be set up also as portable hospitals. But instead of using the resources, because like I said, they had to play whose balls were bigger. He didn't want help, I guess, from him. And because it came from him, the racist white man. So that's why they didn't want help. So he said, we have healthcare facilities, and he demanded any healthcare facility that was getting federal aid, which all of them are, to take in these patients that knowingly were positive. Now, my thing is, if your science told you that that's a population that is heavily affected by this current situation, why would your first thought be, well, we have extra healthcare facilities in these long and short-term rehab facilities, put them there and just separate? How do you expect them to separate? And then that very man turned it and blamed the healthcare workers and said, because we were the ones that were in and out, because we were going and coming and going and coming, we're the ones who brought it in.
That's ballsy. Not the people who are positive for it.
Yeah. So it was our fault. We brought it to them. And so the result was for us to have our noses violated 2 times a week. So,
2 times a week?
Bro, 2 times, we were getting tested 2 times a week. And only nursing home facilities, because now working in the hospital, I'm talking to people that worked the height of it in the hospitals and not these long-term care hospitals. Weren't even, the hospital workers, they weren't getting tested at all. They weren't getting not one test. I know nurses that I talked to, they were like, dude, we didn't get a test the entire fucking pandemic, but we probably got sick. But if you worked in a nursing home in the state of New York, you got tested 2 times a week if you were a full-time healthcare worker.
Damn, dude. That's so ballsy, especially considering the test is.
Yeah. And I mean, we don't got those tests figured out still, but you got a shot though. We got a jab though. The tests are still fucked up, but we got a jab.
Dude, and the fucking we won't even get into that. The whole thing, I mean, it doesn't even matter. Like, get it or don't. I don't give a single shit.
I don't care what your choice is. My point is, you shouldn't force anyone to do anything, considering I live in a country that's supposed to be land of the free.
Yeah, like it's literally our slogan, yo. Like, come on. And
literally,
before we said even this, like before we started recording, we were talking about how, like, imagine, like, you can't force everything on every single person. Like, there are people I personally know who their doctors have advised them not to get this because, of their own personal things. Just like if we said, everyone has to eat an apple every day. Like, some people are allergic to fucking apples. So, like, what are we going to do? Just, like, exclude the people who are allergic to apples from doing anything, or force them to go inconvenience themselves to prove something with a test that we're not even sure fucking works, to, like, go to a normal ass thing where there's like, what about strep throat? Like, there's all these other fucking things that can happen. Like, we're literally, like, that's part of the game. That's so ridiculous.
TB is the most contagious thing that you can contract. Yet we don't shut the world down when there's a TB case. No. And that's more contagious than what's happening now.
Yeah. And it actually kills you, but like, or like, it like actually is really bad for all people. Like, most people who get cocoa are going to survive. And like, you know, your natural immunity, like even the guy who invented the fucking thing, the thing that they put in you, he said like, he's like, it's not a good idea to mandate this for everyone because we don't know the consequences of like what happens when we put everyone on this, like we're gonna have no diversity and like this then this.
There is no antibody dependency. Like that's one thing that you know, I'm part of this group that was created called the Resistance. If you're a healthcare worker, I encourage you to follow us. Telegram, download it. But
It's called the Resistance.
It's called the Resistance.
Okay.
It was literally a group that was created by a bunch of healthcare workers out of Staten Island, New York, that just had a conversation and all wanted to talk to each other, and then realized that there are many other healthcare workers that feel the same way, right, whether you got it or not. Right. So, you know, we had a rally going on there for the situation, and we were talking about, for us, the biggest thing is, you know, the antibody dependency heightens, right? So like if you already are sick or already got sick, and you know, people have gotten sick and still have it in their system, they're testing that it's still in their system for months and months after that. Yeah. You know, we're finding that with this variant or whatever's happening now, with people that do have it, because basically, essentially what the shot is, it's a replicated DNA of the actual thing that they put in you, so you can build the protein and the antibodies towards it. But the thing is, if you're a person who already got that in your system, the worst possible thing to do would be inject you with something and then hyperactivate whatever's happening inside.
Yeah.
That could be the worst thing, because too much protein is no good for you. So too much of it cannot be good for you. So when you listen to the meeting, you hear fake news tell you that 99% of these cases that are hospitalized are from people that don't got the jabs. It bothers us because it's like, it's not the case. Very much split down the middle.
You see both. You see people who haven't gotten it.
You see both. And then you still see people with the underlying conditions that are majority there. Like if you have COPD and you caught cocoa, I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah, or you don't. But I mean, like if you have COPD and you got bronchitis or, you know, fucking pneumonia, or like
you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, like it's all, I mean, it's just, that's the thing. Like, and I worry that now people are like, well, even exactly, that's why we need to like be super afraid always. But like the point is that like this jab doesn't, or this fucking juice, it doesn't provide the same, it doesn't do, it's false advertising, really.
Yeah. I really encourage people to like listen. You don't have to agree, but just listen, because for me, I listen to what the you know, these people say, these companies,
three-letter organizations,
all these letter organizations, what they say about what's happening, you know, the stuff. And their numbers keep changing. Everything keeps changing. Everything keeps switching. So if you don't pay attention to that, I got nothing.
Yeah.
Because I question all the changes, because you're not going to tell me I work 16-hour days and everything is still changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I spent time away from my kids, like my family, trying to figure this out. And then when I realized enough was enough toward the end of 2020, and it was kind of almost too late for my family. Like my dad found out, as you know, my dad passed.
Yeah.
We found out he was sick May of 2020. So it happened really fast. But because I was working through the height of a pandemic, at the beginning, I chose to stay away. Yeah. Because he was already immunocompromised. So I wasn't going to risk anything else. And for me, it was a regret. But when I woke up, I was like, nah, screw that. Because you never know if tomorrow's not going to be his tomorrow or my tomorrow. I could get in a car and not be here tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? That's just the reality of it.
That's the thing.
Like that's literally just the reality of it. You could wake up tomorrow and not know if you're gonna be there for the next day. Like,
and ultimately, like, everything was fine. Like, and I think, you know, that's a conversation everyone can have with their family, but like that's the point, is we need to be able to decide. Like, you and your dad made that decision that it was worth whatever risks for you guys to spend that time with each other, and like
yeah,
that was really special for you. And like that's the point of living in America. Is, I mean, arguably it should be everywhere, but like, you know, that's the point, is that you get to decide what's best for you, and you get to decide with your loved one if you want to take that risk.
right. Ultimately, that should just be anyone's decision, you know.
Yeah.
And for me as a parent, like I got this anxiety. Like if I would have known then what I know now, probably wouldn't have brought children into this kind of world. And that's just the reality of what it is. But that scares me too, because it's like if they can do this now with adults in healthcare, like our kids are next, people. And
Yeah,
that's the truth.
what is New York's policy on the juice for kids?
They're probably going to, okay, so there's only 4 states in the entire country that mandate those things regardless of your religious belief or personal belief.
Right.
California, New York, New Hampshire, Connecticut, and one other one I forgot. But they're the states that, right? So because of that law that New York and all these people passed, if these 3-letter companies approve what they say they're going to approve, they very well will mandate for 16 and older.
And I heard that it's going to be available for 5 and up starting like November.
They pushed it to November. Girl, that's how true this BS is. They pushed it to November. They were talking next year. They pushed it to November.
Dude, I have goosebumps. It feels like things are like speeding up. Like I feel like they're nervous.
They're nervous something's going to happen. This is why they're speeding timelines. Because if you were really good, first of all, if this was really a pandemic, you wouldn't be firing all these healthcare professionals that made a healthcare choice. That's one. 2, if you really think about this deficit, like if you were willing, if we're not willing to do it now, what makes you think by the 27th we'd be willing to do it? Why won't you let us go now? What's with the timelines? What's with the time frames? What's with these dates?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. I want to know, why are these dates so important? Because why do I gotta wait until the 27th? What's gonna happen? Like, you know what I mean? And from what I'm hearing is that the 3-letter company approved something that's not even out right now. So
that's what I heard, that they didn't even approve the thing that actually is out. They approved a different one.
Right. I heard it and then I read it on one of their PDF documents.
Yeah. I posted about it.
Now I'm just like, what are you forcing then? What is happening? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's super weird. It's like I won't even say it, but it's a different name entirely. And it's like,
You're right. It's not even what 100%. I do know that the restaurant industry and the venues industry out here in New York is filing a class action lawsuit. And on September 3rd, they do have an appearance before a judge.
really? To fight this?
We're fighting it. Like, New York is fighting. I'm telling you, there's so many people in New York that are like, no, right? Regardless of what they believe in, what they did, everyone is like, nah, it should be your choice. I see videos of the rallies. I go to the rallies, and just to see all these hundreds of people that feel the same way. Like September 13th, we're marching the Brooklyn Bridge. Like, it's gonna be a thing. But
that's the day the things go in place, huh?
We're marching the Brooklyn Bridge that day. So it's a lot. There's so many people that feel this way. Like, it's just enough is enough. So those industries are fighting because people don't want to show no one a card. Like, they don't don't want to tell you they got it. They already have this in their head. Well, people already make me feel some type of way because I got it. I'm not going to go show other people.
Well, and it's both, right? Like, it doesn't benefit anyone. And I was going to ask that, how are they trying to enforce it? Would it be just to show that like paper card?
It would be that card. Apparently there's an app now, because there's an app for everything. There's an app now.
Where you can like have it upload, or you like have it
Yeah, like
upload
on your phone. Yeah. You can have it, or you can take a picture of your stuff and have it on your phone and then show it.
It's crazy. A lot of people, I mean, most people I know are like with the shits, they're like against the shit, but sometimes I feel like it's like just because I've created this bubble for myself. So I'm actually really happy to hear that like over in New York, I think the perception is that most people are just like, oh yeah, that's what's happening. We're going along with it. So like to hear that it is like a lot of people, like, would you say most people, or like, paint a picture for me?
For me, I want to say it's most people, but I also painted my own bubble.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for me, it's a mental soothing thing to have people that think the same way, so that way I can be at ease.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize until, like I told you the other day, I didn't realize, like I thought we were the minority, but until, John created the group for us and we got together and we realized that it's just like there's almost 800 people in that group now. Like, whoa, so it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot. I didn't realize that. And then, there was August 25th, there was a big New York protest rally. And that was for the the teachers and healthcare workers and all unions against mandates.
Mm-hmm.
So it was huge. Like I saw a helicopter photo of how huge the group was. There was a group by the hundreds and like the huge group in front of City Hall in out here.
That's amazing.
And I was like, that humbles me, following people like you humble me.
You too, dude. I love you.
You know what I'm saying? Like it does. I love you too. Like it does humble me. It does, because it's like you're not alone. Like you're not the only one going through this crap.
And I'm like, dude, if you can go through that shit, like you're in the fucking hot spot. Like New York City is like not fucking around. Like I'm in Arizona, things a little bit, I was pissed when I couldn't go to live music. I'm like, oh, fuck you. But like you're giving up your whole job and like career that you've worked for and like your dream job.
A lot of us are giving up jobs. There's a lot of, even nurses are like, who wants to do, like, some people are like, I'm fighting for a job I don't even want to do anymore.
Yeah.
Because of it. Like, I'm fighting not just for a job, but just for freedom. Like just for the right to say, I don't want to do this. I don't have to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
What about the people who actually have fear of needles? Like, what about
people who get injured by, like, my neighbor just got Guillain-Barré syndrome or whatever from a flu shot she got 4 years ago, and she's like all fucked up. So
I worked in my healthcare facility. There's a gentleman. He's young. He has to be in his 60s or 70s. But he also got something from the flu shot. So now he's paralyzed.
Yeah.
His hands are like this.
Yeah, hers are like that too.
Yeah, she picks things up like this because his fingers don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a real thing. But ultimately, those are risks that these people wanted to take because they said, I'm going to just do it, right?
But they made the decision.
But they made that choice. You know what I'm saying? When I started this, they weren't really crazy about mask wearing. But it's always been a thing in healthcare for as long as I can remember. They'd never enforced it until the later years. But if you didn't get a flu shot, you would have to wear a mask. But that was always a thing in healthcare from what I remember. And in the beginning, like I started in 2009. We didn't take that shit serious. Like no one took it seriously. I never got it. Like it wasn't right. That serious because you knew if your ass was sick, you stayed home. So like we didn't think anything of it. And then during the later years, like 2018 and 19, they were enforcing these things, right? They were like
programming.
Right. They were like, you have to, you have to, you have to. And I think it was, now in hindsight, I think it was just to prepare us for today's world.
That's absolutely it.
100%. So what did I do? I don't want to fucking wear a mask. I'm gonna get the stupid flu shot. Whatever, right? Now you're making me wear it all the time, whether I do it or not. I haven't gotten the flu shot in the last 2 years.
Yeah, no.
For what? You're making me wear a mask anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
For what? You're gonna make me wear a mask. I can't even breathe.
Yeah.
But
No.
all right.
Oh my God, dude.
And I didn't even have like PPE in the beginning. Like all these, all the hospitals and healthcare facilities, they were getting PPE, but the long-term care facilities, I was giving people showers in garbage bags, honey. I had a garbage bag on me, showering people, because they made me believe that I could get it through my freaking pores if I looked at someone. It's just how I felt.
Dude, I was scared initially too, but
yeah, I mean, if you're fed this crap and it's like,
yeah, well, at first it was like, well, I don't want anyone to die, and like I was all scared. I was like cleaning the whole house and shit, like, and because my mom was working, and I was like, well, I don't want to be responsible for her dying, and I got like sad and cried one time, and she was like, Kala, like, do you believe in God? She was like, when it's my time to die, like I'm gonna die. It's gonna happen when it's my time, and like I'm not gonna live my life in fear until then. And I was like, damn, like, all right, B. Like, if you feel that way, then like, and that just kind of like showed me. And then I started to look, because initially I was like, this is like no worse than the flu. I was like, this is the flu. And then, I got scared after that because everyone yelled at me on the internet and they were like, this post will age like milk, blah, 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 blah. And then, yeah, that happened. And I was just like, wait. And then, you start to see things. And now it's like, I don't know how people don't see it.
Yeah, I don't know how people don't see it either. And then, like, I was genuinely having a conversation with someone, and it was someone I love. It's a family member of mine. I have a couple of liberal idealist family members. So we had a conversation. We were having it was a general conversation. Like if I was talking to you right now, like this is how we're talking.
Yeah.
And I guess, us New Yorkers could be aggressive or come out aggressive. I don't know. But when someone starts to see that their points are not made because they sound kind of redundant, but the other person's points kind of sound good, but you don't want to admit that you just had a rebuttal. So they got to be like, well, why are you getting upset? But why? I'm not. We're having a conversation.
Yeah.
But because I make sense and you're not making sense, you feel like I'm attacking you.
Mm-hmm. And you're deflecting now.
Now you're deflecting. Right. Now you're deflecting. I thought we were being adults and having a rational conversation. Like what?
Yeah.
I don't get it. That's why I when I post my posts, I'm always just like, what happened to being united? We stand divided, we fall. What happened to land of the free, home of the brave? When did everybody get scared? Like, when did we get scared? Yeah. Like, there's men and women literally sacrificing their lives for our freedoms, and we're scared.
Yeah.
Like,
I know. It is wild. And I'm just so grateful for like you and, making the sacrifice for freedom. You know what I mean? Like you're a real warrior out there and doing the damn thing. And I'm so in awe and like just commend you, because
I encourage people to find their inner warrior and go outside too. Like my aunt was telling me the other day, we were talking and everybody, like I said, it was a group conversation. And one of my aunts was like, I'm not getting that stupid third, the boost one. And she's, my other aunt was like, well, if you don't, you're going to end up like everyone else. Right. Because that's where it's headed. And then she's like, well, what do we do then? What do we do if we don't want that? And then my aunt looked and she's like, you see what Abby's doing outside with her sign all the time? Like, people are going to have to start talking. And I literally would like to encourage people, like, go grab a sign. I don't care if you have to create a protest by yourself and you're on the corner with your sign for freedom alone. Like, people eventually will magnetize to that. And I think people think that they're the minority, so they don't want to speak up. They don't want to go out there and put themselves, I'm going to lose my job anyway, or I don't want to be the forefront or the face because everybody's going to listen. If it matters and if it's that important to you, go outside and get it done. Because then that's the only way anyone in our history have gotten shit done.
Yeah.
They were outside. They took their country back. I mean, we didn't win the Civil War sitting down. Like
and you look at other countries too, and like it's really gonna take people coming together and seeing that, like, wait, this is wrong. Like, this is wrong to exclude people on the basis of like a medical decision, a personal private medical decision. And like you see other countries.
Is that not essentially discrimination?
I'm just like,
is it not? Because if that's the case, then why are all these private, like, because everyone tells me, oh, these private companies can do what they want. It's their private company. But some of these private companies made a non-discrimination vow, right? Like they literally, like if you work in healthcare, you sit through this non-discrimination training. They don't discriminate against sex, gender orientation, all this. So is this not essentially the same?
I mean, under the Constitution, it wouldn't be considered like a protected class. Like there's only certain things that are like, you know, like your foundational rights, like your right to but I don't know, dude. Like I feel like it is like your,
because there's an amendment that says there's an amendment that talks about our medical autonomy, how it should be our right, that we do have medical freedom. So
yeah,
I don't understand, you know what I mean? Like
I just don't, I mean, to me, it's like, it's also like, I've had like I've said, like, isn't this a HIPAA thing? Like, how is this not a HIPAA thing? And like, I've had lawyers argue with me and tell me it's not a HIPAA thing, but I'm like, how though? Like, I just don't understand. Like, it's like, to me, and am like, I'm probably gonna let go of my law license because like I just don't even fucking care. Like, it's
right.
But like, I went to law school, and the whole point is like, it's so far removed from like the fucking common sense of it. You know what I mean? Like they have all these like weird language, and like, you know, you have the amendment, and then you have all this case law interpreting it. And it's like, well, what about the fucking common sense? Like, we want freedom. This is not freedom.
Right.
Like we say we don't discriminate or segregate. This is segregation. Like,
right.
What is like, it's really simple.
Right. I feel like segregation it doesn't just mean, you know, a person's race or color. Like it could be finances, it could be what we're going through right now. Like that's how I feel. I mean, if you actually look up the definition of the word, it literally means to separate. Yeah. It doesn't say specifically.
But it does target people primarily of color. Like 70% of people, of Black people, I think it is, like, are not getting this shot. So like it is targeting.
People. No, and not Spanish people, girl, because I know a lot of Spanish people that are like,
well,
I am one of them.
Like the Tuskegee, yeah, studies, like, why would they trust the government?
Yeah. So I had a nurse argue with me they talking about vaccinations and things like that. She's like, not for nothing, we've been experiments to vaccines for a while. She's like, do you remember the HPV vaccine that came out years and years ago? She's like, our parents were quick to make us take that one. She's like, the Varicella one for the chicken pox. She's like, people were, quick to, and I said, and I agree with you. I was like, wholeheartedly, some parents did jump and give their kids these injections, believing that their doctors are giving them the right information. But my thing is, not enough information is no good. I was like, because now 20 years down the line, we know of what these things can do. Ultimately, it's our choice to get them or not still. Because till this day, if I don't want my daughter to get that shot, I'm not going to give her that shot. That's always the choice I had.
But like, I got that shit. And that shit caused problems for me. And like, we just didn't know. But I still think the problem for me is like, when you like this, I was never like an anti-Jewish person.
Me too.
But like, I remember heavy last year like at the end of like before, like in 2019, all of 2019, there was heavy like memes circulating about like making fun of anti-V people. And so I remember being like, this is weird. Like, because every time something's like floating around really heavy, I'm like, well, why? You know, this is, they're programming something. So I literally feel like they were setting the stage to like make people hate anti-juice people,
Right.
not even anti-juice, but like, so I wasn't even anti-juice, but then I was kind of like skeptical and started, you know, learning a little bit about like the Gardasil and stuff. And then this happened, and that caused me to look at like all the other shit. And now I am pretty skeptical of like all of them, because the amount, like this is a whole other like conversation.
That's a whole nother thing. Yeah, I understand that though.
It's crazy. I'm like, we just have to question, like, to me, it's like, I just want people to just question what the fuck is going on and just be willing to accept the fact that maybe this isn't about safety, and it never has been.
Yeah. And I think also people aren't comfortable with being like, well, damn it, we were lied to.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like to be like, oh, well, you were right. Or they lied. You know, because
Go ahead.
Because people genuinely believe that these people are doing things for the benefit of humanity.
My cousin was like, I don't know how you believe what you believe. Like, aren't you depressed? Like, I'm just gonna fall in line because it's easier. I was like, well, damn, all right. I can't do that.
I can't do that either. Because then I'd live in this depression.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like that'd make me more depressed.
I can't.
Because knowing that would make me more depressed.
Yeah, knowing what we know, we can't unknow it.
Yeah.
And either way, like, I guess the takeaway for me that I hope people get and understand, and that we can all come together on, is like this. Ultimately, at the end of the day, like, you could be like the biggest supporter of the juice in the whole world, but like, we need to maintain, if one group of people doesn't have freedom to choose what they can do with their body in that respect, then none of us do. Like, then none of us are free, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be my body, my choice for in all aspects, not just when it comes down to a misplanned pregnancy.
Yeah.
That's just it.
Yeah.
Everybody should be entitled to their own decisions, and that's basically what it is. You know, here in New York, we're suffocating. We feel like we don't have that choice right now, and then the world really is watching. Like, I see France and Britain and all these places, they're outside by the thousands, like thousands.
Dude, they really are.
Yeah, and then I have this, and I'm living in a country that and I still wholeheartedly will believe, and I want to believe that it's the greatest one in the world, because we've had that precedent for years. And it's like, we could still be that way. I wish if everyone lived like it were 9/12/2001 all over again, we would freaking, you know what I mean? And I was 11, so, and I remember that was my history.
Yeah.
Like,
were you in New York?
Yeah, I live in New York, like, born and raised here my whole life.
Oh, damn, girl.
Born and raised in New York my whole life.
Damn, so that hits different for you, for sure.
It hits home. It does hit home. It does. Like, so for me, it's like, I need everybody to live like it was the day after all over again, because that's like literally the only way I feel we're going to get anything accomplished.
We need to come together, yeah, or else
that's it. Whether you made a healthcare choice for you or not, everyone needs to come to the realization that this is wrong. This is wrong. No, that's it. I shouldn't have to be fired at the end of a month because you're giving me time to make a healthcare choice that I'd have made my mind up about a year ago. Like,
before it was even like,
well, when they were talking about it.
Yeah, I know, dude. And if we don't have that right, then we don't have anything really. So
we don't, and we have to. It's imperative that we fight now, because if I don't fight for me and my job right now, then it's not going to stop with just me. It's eventually going to hit my kids in school, and I already have to. That's a whole nother, like.
Yeah.
In New York, I wasn't allowed to. They wanted the kids to get tested, right? They were testing the kids at random. And it wasn't done by the healthcare nurse that they hired for the school, right? It wasn't done by an actual healthcare professional. They had a lab tracing corp. That's what they called it. Test and Tracing Corporation. That's the name of it. They would come to the schools, and with the nurse present and the child, they would test the children. Now it wasn't like the invasive testing. It was more around and take the kids around, whatever. And they were selecting kids at random. So I asked them, I said, can I take my child to their healthcare professional, that I take them to when they're sick? Yeah. And then give you the piece of paper that says that they're fine, because I took them to their doctor and the doctor tested them out. That wasn't an option for me as a parent. And I was like, I got a problem, because one, I'm not allowed in the building. Not allowed in the building with them. You're going to be administering a test. I don't even know the company. I don't know the label. I know there's things, I can't pronounce the word, the EO on a packaging of a test. It's very deadly for you. It's a poison, essentially can cause cancer.
On the packaging of the test?
Yes. I will find the name for you. I can't pronounce it. But it's a chemical. It's a chemical that they coat these testing with. That it's essentially harmful for you. So they were doing that.
They get us all every angle.
Yeah. So I couldn't do that. And I don't know what their thinking process was, because they were picking the kids at random. And it was one time every 3 weeks. Like, they didn't pick my kid until like June, when school was almost over, and he did school the whole year. So I don't know what their thought process was, because if someone was going to contract anything, like, that was dumb. Random.
Well, it's like, why even test one? Like, who cares? Like, that, there's no point.
Yeah. So I had a principal friend that told me that if they were testing your kid had the right to tell them they wanted to do it themselves. They wanted to administer a test themselves, because essentially it's literally just the Q-tip, and you go like that. So, I told my son, tell me you want to do it. And then when you do this, how you're going to do, like, I was prepping him, because I worked in healthcare and I knew what to do. So I was prepping my son what to do. And she told me, essentially your kid also has the right to tell them they don't want to do that, because they don't feel comfortable with anything without their parent. So, but if that happened, your kid would get kicked out of school because it had to be done.
How is this consent or choice?
It's not. I didn't even have a choice to take him to his own doctor. And at first, our mayor told us that the testing was going to be like a DNA thing. Like, DNA saliva testing. That's how it was supposed to be done. And then retracted that and was like, it's not happening that way.
Well, good.
Yeah. So I was like, and then they call you and they harass you, right? So you get this email, like, if someone came up positive in the class or whatever. I think my daughter's teacher was sick once, and she got it. And they called everybody like, oh, there's a potential that your daughter was exposed because the teacher was exposed, or whatever the case is. And they were like, we advise you to quarantine your child for 2 weeks and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, quarantine my child in the middle of June? Yeah, okay. So, and I'm like, quarantine her for what? She's not sick. She's having fun. She's outside. She's jumping on a trampoline. She ain't sick. What am I keeping her locked in the house for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Should I get her tested? Should I go get her? I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the heck is this? And they called me every day to let me know that there was an explosion, make sure that she was in the house. To the point where it was like, hi, this is the New York City Health and Hospitals calling again. I was like, at this point, I'm going to sue you guys for harassment. Stop calling me.
Yeah.
And they stopped calling.
They did?
Yes, they stopped calling. I was like, I'm going to sue you for harassment if I get one more phone call.
Damn, dude.
They literally called. They called every day to make sure that, how are they feeling? Are they showing any symptoms? Are they isolated? That is none of your fucking business.
No business.
Like,
Dude, it's crazy. And I'm just really grateful that you shared this, because I think a lot of us in Arizona and maybe other places watching this, like, it isn't as bad as it is where you are, but like that where you are, like, it's gonna be everywhere if we don't stand up. You know what I mean?
said that. I was telling people, I was like, if New York City doesn't set the precedence, the entire country is going to go down. And I feel that way because the world looks at New York and California always.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, California and New York, it's like, oh, you're from the United States. Where do you live? New York City?
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of states in the United States.
Yeah.
But we set the precedence, we set the tone for a lot of states. And like, we've had a lot of people move to like Florida and Texas because their governors are like, we ain't with the shit.
Yeah.
So like,
yeah,
they're like, they're not with it. So a lot of people are moving. I unfortunately have to consider that route now for the sake of my kids, because if they can do it to, just like I said, teachers and healthcare workers and kids, they're pushing this thing on kids that are 16. Essentially, you're still a kid. Like, their science told us that there's a possibility that boys between the ages of 12 and 30 could get inflammation around their heart from this. This is a side effect, but you're still going to push it. What if that was a parent's choice not to make that decision for their kid? I don't want, oh, that's a risk. I'd rather not. I don't care if that risk is 1%. As a parent, I'm not doing that to my son.
Yeah.
You're bugging. You're crazy.
Well, and then he turns 18 and then it doesn't matter, because then he has to get a job, even though it's still a major risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's just like, so as a parent and as a person, this is not cool.
No.
You know, my best friend, you know her, my best friend, her name is Shelby.
Yeah.
Her page, you know, Sweet Saray, my boo thing. She left New York. She's in Florida right now. She moved for this whole thing gives her anxiety.
Yeah.
So she literally moved to a whole nother state because she didn't want her daughter to be forced, her asthmatic daughter at that, to be forced to wear a mask or to have a shot. Just to go to school. My whole friend had to pick up her entire life. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And was she born there too?
Yeah, we're all born and raised in New York.
That's your home. Yeah.
And to think that I'm gonna potentially have to leave my home. I'm fighting for it.
Right.
While I'm still here. But essentially, if things don't end up, I'm gonna have to do what I gotta do. And that's gonna take a financial toll on the state too, because a lot of healthcare workers are gonna stand their ground, and a lot of the restaurant industries are standing their ground. Truckers are going on strike tomorrow, so if you haven't stocked up, go stock up already.
Oh shit, I didn't do that.
Yeah, the truck industries, it's gonna fuck with commerce. They're striking tomorrow. So, and I was like, are they really? I asked a friend of mine whose husband's up. She's like, yep, truckers are going on strike tomorrow.
Well, that's when I'm going to release this. So today.
Yeah, the truckers are going on strike. Sanitation, our NYPD, our police officers, their union has issued a lawsuit because they're not going to mandate. The cops are like, nope. Fire department, same thing. Everybody is suing the city. Restaurants, healthcare workers, the NYPD already did it. People are dropping out of the teachers union. If the teachers union doesn't have these teachers back, they're dropping out. This is what I'm saying. It's going to take not only just a mental and physical toll on people, but the financial burden that the city's about to face. Yeah. By mandating this, is going to be ridiculous. First of all, there's a healthcare shortage throughout the entire country still, and you're literally going to let 50% of them go.
Oh my God. Well, I have to run right now.
Go ahead, dude.
But dude, I just want to thank you so much for sitting down with me and sharing all of that. Like, I know it's going to probably blow some people's minds that this shit is happening, but I'm just
Yep,
so
it's
grateful for
happening,
you.
y'all. And if it's happening in New York, it can happen anywhere.
Straight up. Thank you so much for doing your work and like just showing up and fighting.
Wow.
You're really setting the tone, and I love you so much.
I love you too, girl. Keep spreading the word. Keep up the fight.
You too.
And tell your friends get outside, because I'm gonna be outside.
Dude, I'm going on a street corner for real.
No, I'm serious. Listen, we need all the help we can get.
Yeah.
But like I said, if it could happen here, who knows?
Anywhere. Yeah.
You know?
I love you,
Stay
dude.
strong. Love you, sis.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Still hazy, funk past J's and face of blunt ashtrays and skate with punk kids. I still chase the sun, bad days. I'm lacing up half cabs and shake junk spliffs. Whatever happened to rap, it should rest in peace to Mac, and I'm here to raise it from the dead. Cause drugs ain't cool, kid, plug you with that new shit. Turn water to wine and break bread. And if I said this all the future, would you trust I told the truth, or would you run away and tell my whole fan base? Cause sooner or later, kid, they'll take your human nature and they'll burn you at the stakes while the band plays. So, in the last words, better speak up now. I said, why do birds sing? What's a king without a crown? They all stood in silence while they listened to the sound of a madman reason with the demons he found. You can't lock up ideas, we don't even exist. I just live through the speakers and the beats that we kick. Is this forbidden fruit from the Garden of Eden? Is it freedom of speech, or am I speaking for freedom?